Namaste and welcome everyone to the very first Gupshup, or as we're calling it, Baatcheat.
That's right. Baatcheat actually means conversations in Hindi.
Exactly, and that's what you're getting each week. A lively, insightful chat, digging deep into the world of electric vehicles.
And the batteries that power them, of course.
Oh, absolutely. And we're focusing our lens on, well, the really dynamic landscapes of China and India.
Think of this as your weekly cheat sheet, basically, bringing you up to speed on the key stuff.
What's fascinating, really, is just the contrast, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. And yet, how connected they are. China's the established leader, no doubt.
Yeah, dominating EV and battery tech production. They're setting the pace.
They really are. Pushing innovation, scaling up like crazy.
And then you've got India, this massive market just brimming with potential.
Huge future potential driven by, well, just immense demand, right? And a growing excitement for EVs.
Exactly. So every week here on Baatcheat, we'll unpack that relationship. We'll bring you the most interesting stories, the news snippets as they happen.
And for this first deep dive, we've basically scoured the headlines from the last week or so.
Yeah, trying to give you a quick but, thorough understanding of what's moving the needle in both countries.
We've got quite a mix today, some pretty groundbreaking battery tech coming out of China.
Oh, yeah, and a big IPO in India that could really shake things up in the electric two-wheeler space.
Plus some shifts in sales dynamics, how people are buying EVs.
Okay, let's dive right in. China first.
Yeah.
Some truly remarkable news from CATL.
Right, the battery giant. Their recent tech day, it wasn't just one thing, was it?
No, it was like a whole suite of innovations. Really gives you a glimpse into where battery tech is heading.
It was almost overwhelming, the amount they announced.
You're not kidding. Okay, first up, the Freevoy dual power battery. They're claiming, get this, over 1,500 kilometers range.
Yeah, that's over 930 miles. It's huge.
That's like London to Rome, basically, without stopping. How are they even doing that?
Well, the key is what they're calling a dual-core architecture. Think of it like two separate battery systems working together. You've got your main energy zone for, daily driving.
Right.
And then a dedicated range extension zone for the long trips.
Makes sense.
And what's really clever is they're using different chemistries in each zone.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, like a mix of ternary lithium and LFP, lithium iron phosphate, or even this dual ternary thing with a self-generating negative electrode.
A self-generating negative electrode. What does that mean?
It's pretty advanced stuff. Basically, it lets them pack more energy into the same physical space. It's a fundamental rethink, really.
So not just tweaking things, a real step change.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This kind of range, it could totally shift how people think about EVs versus, traditional cars for long journeys.
Mind-blowing. Okay, and if that wasn't enough, the second-gen Shengsing super-fast charging battery.
Right, and the numbers here are just staggering.
800 kilometers of range, peak charging rate approaching 12C. Now, 12C, what does that mean for someone at a charger?
Okay, so imagine this. That 12C rate, over 1.3 megawatts peak power. It means adding over 520 kilometers, that's 323 miles, in just 5 minutes.
5 minutes?
5 minutes. It's like gaining 2.5 kilometers of range every second you're plugged in.
Wow.
And they're saying this isn't just lab conditions. Even at minus 10 degrees Celsius, it can charge from like 5% to 80% in 15 minutes.
That's incredible, especially the cold weather performance.
It's a massive leap from their first-gen Shengsing, which is already good 400 kilometers in 10 minutes at 4C. This feels like a proper paradigm shift for refueling.
Absolutely. Range anxiety, charging times, the big hurdles. CATL seems to be hitting them head on. But wait, there's more battery news. Sodium ion.
Yep, sodium ion. And this is interesting for different reasons.
How so?
Well, they're planning mass production for December 2025. The energy density is decent, 175 kWh,
Okay.
which they reckon gives over 200 kilometers for hybrids and a pretty usable 500 kilometers for pure EVs.
500 kilometers is solid for a pure EV using sodium ion.
Right. But the big things here are safety and cold weather performance. That could unlock EVs in places where lithium-ion struggles.
Right. I heard sodium ion is inherently safer.
Exactly. CATL's reporting impressive safety, no fires, no explosions in their tests, even under stress.
That's huge for consumer confidence.
Totally. And the cold weather stuff is amazing. At minus 30 Celsius, it charges 30% to 80% in half an hour, keeps 93% capacity.
Wow.
And get this, even at minus 40, with zero charge, they say vehicles can still do highway speeds.
Seriously, that's unheard of for lithium ion.
Pretty much. Plus, they're talking 10,000 cycles lifespan and 5C fast charging.
So not just cheaper, but better in some key ways.
Potentially, yeah, for certain applications.
No wonder the market reacted well. I saw CATL's stock jumped, market cap back over $1 trillion.
Yeah, they're really flexing their tech muscles.
Definitely demonstrating leadership.
And speaking of market performance, let's maybe pivot to BYD, another huge player in China.
Right, they had their Q1 results out too.
And they looked pretty strong, didn't they?
Yeah, net income basically doubled year on year. That's a big jump.
It really is. RMB 9.16 billion, about 1.26 billion US dollars. A full 100% increase from Q1 2024.
And revenue.
Up over 36% to RMB 170 billion. And they sold over 1 million NEVs just in those first 3 months.
Just staggering volume. I did see their gross margin dipped slightly, though.
It did, yeah. It dipped slightly year on year to about 20%. But actually, it was up quite a bit from the previous quarter, Q4.
Ah, okay. So maybe just quarterly fluctuations or the price war.
Probably a bit of both, especially the intense price competition in China right now. But overall, still very strong financials.
And they're still investing heavily in R&D, right?
Oh, yeah. R&D spend was up 34%, RMB 14.2 billion. They're clearly playing the long game, investing in future tech.
Which makes sense given their future ambitions. That 2025 sales target is massive.
It is. 5.5 million cars this year, including over 800,000 overseas. That's serious global ambition.
Clearly signaling they want to compete everywhere. Now, just looping back to CATL quickly, besides the tech, they were doing a share buyback.
Yeah, that's right.
What's usually the thinking behind that?
Typically, companies do that when they think their stock is undervalued. Buying back shares reduces the number out there, can boost earnings per share, support the price.
Okay.
So CATL bought back about RMB 254 million worth recently. It's part of a bigger plan, 4 to 8 billion RMB total.
And their stock is actually down this year, despite the tech news.
Yeah, down about 9% year to date. So this buyback could be a signal of confidence, a way to support the price.
Plus, maybe related to their plans for a Hong Kong listing.
Could be a factor, yeah. They're still working on that.
Makes sense. Okay, so that's the company level. What about the overall Chinese NEV market? CPCA had some April forecasts out.
Right, the China Passenger Car Association. They track the sales data.
What are they seeing for April?
They're expecting around 900,000 NEV retail sales, which is still up massively year on year, like 33%.
But down for March.
Yeah, down about 9% from March.
Any reason why?
CPCA mentioned the Qingming Festival holiday, maybe less foot traffic in dealerships. Also, some bad weather apparently hit store visits.
Okay, so maybe a temporary dip.
Seems likely. For context, overall passenger car sales are also expected to be down month on month, though up year on year. So it's not just NEVs.
Got it. So strong underlying growth, just a bit cooler after March. We also get those weekly EV registration numbers, don't we? A bit more granular.
We do, yeah. Gives a nice real-time feel. For week 16, mid-April, BYD is still leading, unsurprisingly. 56,300 registrations, up slightly week on week.
Any big movers?
Yeah, actually. Li Auto, Leap Motor, even Xiaomi, the new guys, saw pretty strong growth that week.
And NIO?
NIO had a record week for 2025, up a huge 54%, probably helped by some government stimulus measures kicking in.
Wow, 54% week on week is significant. What about Tesla?
Tesla also had a good week. Registrations up almost 26% to 6,800.
Okay, but I heard something about Li Auto stopping publishing this weekly data.
Yeah, that's right. Apparently, CAM, the Auto Manufacturers Association, had concerns it was fueling vicious competition.
Interesting. Shame, though. That data was useful.
It really was. So we might get less of that detailed weekly insight going forward.
Okay, let's look at another angle. Vehicle imports into China. Q1 numbers showed a big shift.
A really big shift. Imports were down 39% year on year in Q1. March alone was down 27%.
That's substantial. Is it across the board?
Well, the trend's been downwards for a while, but what's changing is the type of imports. It's increasingly focused on luxury cars. Non-luxury imports have really shrunk.
And NEV imports.
Plummeted. BEVs down 82%, PHEVs down 77%.
Wow. That really shows the strength of China's domestic NEV makers, doesn't it?
Absolutely. They're clearly meeting that local demand. Top import countries are still Japan, Germany, and Slovakia, though, by volume.
Okay, so China's domestic market is booming. Imports are falling. But what about Tesla within China? Things seem a bit tougher for them lately.
Yeah, reports suggest their image has shifted somewhat. Their Q1 wholesale sales in China were reportedly down nearly 22% year over year. Retail sales were flat, while BYD grew massively.
That's a stark contrast.
It is. And you hear anecdotes about the pressure on sales staff, long hours, intense targets like 1 sale a day, 30 a month, high turnover reported too.
Why are they struggling? Competition.
Definitely a big factor. Lots of new, strong competitors from Chinese automakers. Plus, Tesla's own product line is, well, getting a bit older. Fewer models compared to others.
Are they trying things?
Promotions.
Yeah, pushing the refreshed Model Y with things like zero-interest financing. But then there was also that recent fatal EV accident, which always raises safety questions, fairly or unfairly.
Right. Any new models coming?
There's talk of maybe a lower-price Model Y variant later this year, but nothing confirmed.
It's such a crucial market for them, isn't it, China?
It's absolutely massive. Nearly 40% of their global sales in Q1 came from China, so the pressure is definitely on. Okay, a lot happening in China. Let's cross the Himalayas now. Let's dive into the Indian EV and battery scene. Big news there, too.
Definitely. The headline grabber has to be Ather Energy's upcoming IPO, right?
Absolutely. For listeners who might not know Ather as well, who are they exactly?
So Ather Energy, they're based in Bangalore. They make electric two-wheelers, scooters mainly, founded back in 2013.
And they focused on the premium end.
Yeah, very much so. Known for stylish scooters, advanced features like touchscreens, fast charging. They've really built a strong brand in that premium space in India.
A key player in that booming electric two-wheeler market.
For sure. While China has these battery giants, India's story is often about vehicle makers like Ather stepping up.
How are they looking financially going into this IPO?
Okay, so fiscal year 2024, they reported pretty significant revenue of $17,538 million.
That sounds good.
It is, but like a lot of fast-growing companies in these areas, they also had a substantial loss, $10,597 million.
Okay, so growth, but not profitability yet. Market share.
Reached 11.5% in FY24. So a strong player, but achieving profitability is definitely the next big goal.
Right, so this IPO is clearly about funding that next stage of growth. What are the details? Timing? Exchanges?
Yep. Bidding is set for April 28th to 30th, 2025. They're aiming to list on both the BSE and NSE in India, targeting May 6th.
And how much are they looking to raise?
It's a decent amount. A fresh issue of shares up to $26,260 million, plus an offer for sale of over 11 million existing shares.
Okay. And where's that money going? What's the plan?
It's earmarked for a few key things. A big chunk, over $9 billion, is for a new factory in Maharashtra, Factory 3.0, they're calling it.
Okay, expanding production.
Exactly. Then $7.5 billion for R&D over the next 3 years, new products, battery tech, another €3 billion for marketing and brand building.
And some for debt.
Yeah, paying down some debt too. The goal is to hit an annual capacity of 1.42 million electric two-wheelers after this expansion.
That's a huge jump in capacity. Now, Author talks a lot about being vertically integrated. How does that fit in?
It's really core to their strategy. They design and engineer something like 80% of the scooter parts in-house.
Gives them control, I guess.
Yeah, over quality, performance, innovation. Their AtherStack software platform is also key smart features, and it actually brings in a bit of high-margin revenue, too.
Interesting. And their sales model?
Premium pricing, the 450 and the new Rizta series. And they use an asset-light distribution, experience centers, service centers, plus their own charging network, the Ather Grid.
Sounds like a solid strategy, but it's not without challenges, right? The Indian market is getting crowded.
Oh, absolutely. Competition's heating up fast.
Yeah.
Established players, tons of new entrants. Supply chain management is always a factor, too.
And regulations, subsidies.
Yeah, shifts in government policy, feigned subsidies, those can impact things. Now, like we said, they've got accumulated losses. Hitting profitability is crucial long-term.
Still, they've won awards, like for the Rizta recently, so the product is resonating.
Definitely. It shows their innovation is getting noticed.
Okay, moving from two-wheelers. News about Hindalco supplying battery enclosures to Mahindra. That sounds like a good sign for the local supply chain.
It really is. Hindalco, the big aluminum company, delivered 10,000 aluminum battery enclosures.
Made in India.
Yep, made at their new plant in Chakan. It's for Mahindra's BE6 and XCV9E electric SUVs.
That's a decent-sized order.
It is. And the plant itself is a big investment, 500 crore. Capacity is 80,000 units a year now, planning to double it. Created jobs, too.
And the benefit of aluminum enclosures, lighter weight?
Exactly. Up to 40% lighter than steel. They estimate that could improve range by 8 to 10%. Plus better safety, better thermal management for the battery.
So real tangible benefits. Good to see that kind of local manufacturing link up.
Definitely. We also saw a partnership announced, Montreux Electric and Magenta Mobility.
Right, what's that about?
It's an MOU a memorandum of understanding. Mantra will supply 100 of their Aviator E350L electric vehicles to Magenta.
And Magenta does.
Logistics. So these EVs will be used for deliveries, FMCG, groceries, e-commerce, telecom.
Focusing on the commercial side. Small commercial vehicles.
Exactly, the ESCV segment. Particularly for inner-city transport. Mantra is providing service and charging support, too.
Good to see electrification happening in the commercial space. That's crucial for emissions.
Absolutely. There was also an interesting investment. Nuveen investing in Fabric IoT.
Fabric IoT. What do they do?
They're the parent company of Intellicar. Nuveen put in $13.5 million via their private equity impact fund.
And Intellicar's role?
They provide data solutions for the EV and auto sectors. Their platform supports over 300,000 EVs in India already.
So using data to improve things?
Pretty much. Collecting EV data to help optimize transport, energy use, which is really important in India given air pollution concerns.
Makes sense. Data is key. We also saw Omega Seiki placing an order with Ergon Labs for power converters?
Yeah, Omega Seiki makes electric three-wheelers. They ordered 50 core worth of Ergon Labs integrated power converters, or IPCs.
Integrated, what does that mean?
It combines the onboard charger and the motor controller into one unit.
Okay. Benefits.
Ergon claims better gradability for the three-wheelers, much faster charging on standard sockets, and lowers system cost overall, maybe 30% lower.
Sounds like smart engineering. More efficient, cheaper three-wheelers are vital.
Definitely. Omega Seiki plans to put these in 2,000 vehicles next fiscal year, and they're co-developing a high-performance cargo EV with Ergon too.
Good stuff. And another Indian EV maker, River, hit a milestone.
Yeah, River. Based in Bengaluru, they apparently surpassed INR 100 crore in revenue just 4 years after starting up.
That's quick progress.
It is. Their Indie electric scooter has supposedly been selling 1,000 units a month consistently since launching 2 years back.
Shows there's real demand. Are they expanding?
Big plans. Aiming for over 100 cities by 2026. They're at 20 stores now, with new ones coming soon in Pune, Vijayawada, Trivandrum.
Great to see these homegrown companies scaling up.
Absolutely. Now, shifting slightly, lots of speculation swirling around, isn't there? Tata Motors potentially entering the electric scooter market.
Yeah, I saw those reports. And Reliance Jio with an electric bike.
Right. It's crucial to stress, though, this is all just speculation right now.
No official word from either company.
Not at all. For Tata, the rumors suggest maybe a scooter in 2025, around Rs 1 lakh, maybe 200-kilometer range TFT display. But Tata's focus is so heavily on electric cars right now.
Yeah, entering the two-wheeler market would be a huge strategic shift. Massive investment needed.
Exactly. And for Geo, the electric bicycle speculation is also strong. Rumors of lightweight frames, LED lights, digital cluster, disc brakes.
Ref point, range.
Price speculated between 30K and 50K. Range rumors are wild. Some reports said up to 400 kilometers, which experts are, let's say, very skeptical about for an e-bike.
Yeah, 400 kilometers sounds optimistic, more realistic specs.
Probably looking at a 36V removable battery, maybe 3.5-hour charge, 250W motor, 25-kilometer top speed, plus connectivity, GPS, anti-theft features potentially.
Launch time frame rumored.
Second half of 2025, maybe. If either of these happen, it would be disruptive. But yeah, purely speculative for now.
Understood. So watch this space, basically. We also saw a headline about Tesla canceling orders in India, but not much detail.
Yeah, just the headline popped up. The snippets we had didn't really elaborate, so hard to say much about that yet. Something to keep an eye on.
Definitely. Need more info there.
Sometimes headlines run ahead of the full story.
Well, that pretty much brings us to the end of our very first Baatcheat. Quite a packed tour through China and India's EV worlds this week.
It really was. What stands out is just that relentless pace of innovation, especially on the battery front from China. CATL's announcements were genuinely boundary pushing.
Absolutely. And then in India, you see this really robust growth, electrification happening across different vehicle types, Ather's IPO, the supply chain strengthening.
It's that fascinating mix, isn't it?
Yeah.
China's tech leadership, India's huge growth potential. They really complement each other in a way.
Totally compelling to watch.
Yeah, and it leaves us with a thought, maybe for you, the listener. Given how fast battery tech is moving in China, how quickly could those innovations filter down?
Right into more affordable vehicles, maybe in markets like India.
Exactly. And what impact could that have on EV adoption globally? How fast could things accelerate?
Definitely something to mull over. We'd love to hear your thoughts on that, or anything else you'd like us to cover in future Baatcheat deep dives.
Yeah, let us know.
Make sure you follow Baatcheat for your weekly dose of insights. Thanks so much for tuning into our first one.